Alrighty, all true. Welcome to a brand new week here at Optimistic Futures. Anyway, um, so today there are no news drops, at least nothing on the market calendar, the economic calendar. But we should be looking for. I'm looking, I guess, today for some just kind of like smooth movement, maybe a little bit of upward trend or downward trend. Just be looking for some like trend reversals or trying to work the wave pattern. Now, I've not dived into the charts today, so I don't know what's actually going on there in the market yet. But let's go ahead and dive on in and take a look, see at what is going down. All right. Yeah, the jobs. Okay, so we're on the 4 hour chart. Boom. All right, so we're hitting 4130. We're hitting highs actually right now. And we did just actually get a trend reversal or a fresh TTM squeeze up here. Getting a pretty decent sized pullback off that high there, high of 4130. Pull this back a little bit. 4125. Does look pretty smooth as far as the actual movement so far on the day. Kind of wish I was here earlier. It just looked really nice. Pretty much since the open. What's the volume like today? 21, 26, 25, 22. Volume's a little light, but not bad. Workable. Okay, 9 is above the 12. The 26 is above the 35. So we could be nearing sort of the end of this upward move. But I think that we're gonna just kind of see some wave patterns a lot on the day, which is what I was hoping for and what I was expecting. 2.7 to 3.1 to 3.4 on the TTM 1 minute chart. Let's take a look at this on the 3-minute chart. 3-minute chart's kind of pulling back a little bit, slightly, not really, but maybe a little bit. We got 10 here on the cooling. Excuse me. 10 to 10.6, 0.7, 0.9, 11. Where was that one? 11.4 to the current one at 11.4 on a cooling candle. So you look at the 5. The 5 is just on a rip as far as TTM goes. 12.6 to 13.5. No, it was 11.4 to 12.6. Okay. I'll probably keep it on scalping today. I hope everyone got an opportunity to take advantage of the 65% off going on in Elite Trader Funding right now. They also have a buy one get one free option. You don't get that promo code until after you pick up one. But basically, if you buy 2 identical plans, you'll get the opportunity to get a buy one get one free. And how the buy one get one free works is that your first month on the second plan is free. Then it goes to 65% off for life. So it's a really badass deal in my opinion. Personally, I think it's one of the best deals I've seen in a very long time. I think I've been with Elite Trader Funding for a while now, and I think it's the best deal that they've ever offered. Starting to get some pullback here. Maybe looking to potentially short off of these highs here. In which case we'll have to cut this trade and go in the opposite direction, which is looking like the play right now. Got that cut there. Lost a 225 on there. What's up, Kevin? Good morning from Lakeland, Florida. I'm not in Lakeland. You are, but good morning. Realized the music was a little loud for me. I think today we're going to be looking for things like bounces off the 9 EMA, maybe bounces off the 35, stuff like that. We get any 35 bounces earlier? There's one. That's the beginning of the move, so it doesn't correlate. I guess we could have kept that one that we cut. Kind of difficult for me to determine momentum or direction right now. Double top. They're at 41.30. I haven't taken any wins yet. We got 2 losses. I'm gonna wait for this to fall over. Looks like we may have resistance there at 41.30. We may also get another push up higher. But you can see the volume's pretty low. I guess it's not that low. This is 4,000. 2210. The volume's kind of low on a lot of the candles, but I don't know. The movement's pretty tight, like very, very narrow price range today. Seeming to find support there at 41.29, 3.7 or 3.9. Just taking like single tick moves right now. Could see a rip through these highs here. It's possible. Coming up for another test of it. $41.30 exactly there. Test of the highs. Took a trade up here at the top just to see if it would rip through. Didn't work out. Down 562 on the day. You just need to stop going long. In short here in the evaluation at 26.75. Looking for just 2 ticks down. And we're getting a pop there. Wow. More strength than I expected on that. Yeah, I gotta cut this.
Order filled.
Ouch. So first trade in our new evaluation, we're down 160 bucks. 126, 128, 126, 6 ticks. Wow. I think I'm gonna wait for a crossover. I have like 1 or 2 wins today, and they're very, very small. Or losses are big, have been bigger today. First, this ended up dropping down. And actually, yeah, we're gonna wait for a crossover of any kind in order to happen. We do have some cooling on the TTM here. Last time we had cooling on the TTM was right here in this area, where it still continued pretty sideways, even though it had come all the way down. And basically flattened right here before starting its next rip. Very tight range on the day. Honestly, it's kind of challenging to trade with without a clear direction. Made 2 ticks on that one. There's a little bit on the level 2 right now, or at least on the market depth. I'm going to slow down, go a little slower. Market's slow, so I'm going to just go slow with it. 10.0 to 9.4. On a cooling on the TTM on the 3. Short right here off 29.25. We happen to get the entry. There it is. Kind of near the top again. Maybe back another 75. What's up, Tiny? To be completely honest, I actually did not. I did laundry all day. Did laundry all day, and what else did I do yesterday? Yeah, basically just hung out with my wife. Didn't do any Super Bowl stuff. Bit of a drop down there in 27s. 0.9 to 1.6 on the TTM, but I don't know how useful the TTM is going to be today. Just because we're getting so much of this, like, I'm gonna kind of call it choppiness. I mean, it looks like kind of smoothish, but it's very difficult to kind of determine which direction. At least for me, maybe somebody else is having a better time at this, but I've been struggling on picking a direction today so far. We took one trade in the new eval, lost $160. We've taken 7 trades here for a loss of 600. And so I do think that we coming up here and testing these highs again. We had that double top here. We're testing the highs with the cooling on the TTM. But again, I don't know how useful it's going to be today, given that it's been just so sideways. And it was kind of to be expected because there is no market news. Tomorrow there's big market news. Tomorrow there is, let's see, we've got international trade deficit. We've got a Jerome Powell speech at the Economic Club of Washington. So this speech here is at 9:40 Pacific, 12:40 Eastern time. These typically end up in really large bullish runs whenever Jerome Powell speaks. They do typically bring a lot of volume and a lot of volatility. I don't think that I would trade this in my eval unless I've got a cushion built up, but I'd be willing to trade it, likely to the long side, if we get a decent balance built up today. And then we've got the consumer credit report as well. This week we've got a lot of speeches from the Fed govs, Fed vice chairs, more Fed gov. What else? I know we have jobless claims, continuing jobless claims on Thursday. I thought we had CPI index this week. There it is. We've got consumer sentiment. Sorry. We've got 1-year inflation expectations, 5-year inflation. So they're expecting 2.9% over 5 years. We'll see. But Friday is likely to be a pretty volatile day. So I think today's really going to be the only real sideways day this week. Yeah, exactly. Like, what is sideways for my own self? It's basically just up and down, up and down, up and down. And so it does make it very challenging to trade because it'll look like it's going to go in one direction, then it goes in the opposite. So I do want to thank all 313 of y'all subscribers. I think it was just last week we were at 292, and we're trying to push up to 300. and we've blown past that. We've been blown past it daily. And so thank you guys very much. Thank you guys very much for helping the community grow and making this a better place to hang out and be. We did break through those highs pretty heavily up there just now. Another bit here. I felt like this was gonna happen.
Order filled.
Join the bid, really way too high
Order
up,
filled.
but we did get a trade out of it. Up one or down 118 on the day. Getting a pullback now. We got a decent trade over here. Also 2 ticks, made back 75 bucks. So we did rip up. I kind of felt like this was going to happen. It was something that I mentioned way back when we were talking about the TTM, but kind of caught me by surprise. Got fresh momentum in here now. I'm gonna pull back the chart to see what we have room to. Let's see what's going on with the 3-minute. So this actually continued to push up while it was still. It just blew right past my mark. I'm not even in a trade, dude. What are you doing, weirdo? Wow, it's so sideways. It's like difficult to like zoom in. It did bounce pretty nicely off of 35. Tapping the highs yet again, breaking on through them, making new highs.
Order rejected.
Rejected my order because I tried to fill in on the chart at the price level. New candle now. Hesitant to take a short for the pullback. The pullback to the 9 EMA would be favorable. Looks like it would have worked out. $20 seconds left in this candle. Looks like the short was the right move. Five seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Order filled.
Entered long at 34.75.
Order filled.
Got out there. Made 2 ticks back. Now down 77 on the day. In the eval, that is. This is a fresh eval of 100K. Like I said, guys, if you guys are looking to earn funding in the futures market, you may want to check out Elite Trader Funding. These guys are super awesome here, but let me go ahead and pull them up. They are offering a 65% off lifetime right now, as well as a buy one get one free. Plus, they have a new Diamond Hands plan that's maybe worth your time to check out. I think that this is the fifth move. I don't think it's an impulse wave. I think this is like actually part of like a larger move on the day. Thank you. I appreciate that. This is a key ingredient in order to earning funding, as well as to just being a profitable trader. Keep those losses low. And sometimes for me, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, this looks like a really nice push, actually. Damn, I wish I got into that. It looks like we're starting to get a little momentum on the day, honestly. What I was about to say is that for me, like, man, just like I hate just watching it rip, and I'm like, I feel like I should join, but I don't know. In double top there at 38. What I was gonna say is that for me, like when I'm kind of like down on the day, or it's not working well, my trades, I tend to take smaller trades in order to rebuild that cushion back up. 3.4 to 3.5 on the TTM, to 4.2 on that last candle, to 4.6 on the current. Getting a pullback off of the high there, kind of minimal on the pullback. Music stop. Piano players out. Music stop. Boy, heck, he got dropped. 4.2 to 4.6, pulling back to 35.5 and bouncing off of that. I feel kind of like phlegm in my throat today or something. You can pull back off of 37 now, down to 36. Probably gonna have to cut this trade. $4.6 to 4.8. Yeah, I'm gonna probably cut this trade. Loss of about 112 on that one, I think. Down 450 in the sim and down 77 in the evaluation on the 100K. 100K static, that is. So, yeah, guys. So if you want to check out Elite Trader Funding, y'all should check these guys out. There's a link in the description and a promo code JSBEST, which you can use right now to take 65% off of any of the plans that you see here, except for the fast tracks. And so basically, just to give you an idea, a $75,000 equity account that would normally cost $185 goes down to $64.75. So you save over $100. You save basically $120 on this, on the 75K evaluation, and that would allow you 10 contracts of the mini with a profit target of $4,500, or 100 micros. This also gives you a drawdown of $2,500. That's a trailing max drawdown. Me personally, I'm working on the 50K evaluation, and I am working on the 100K static evaluation. And this allows me 2 contracts in the mini with a $2,000 profit target, $625 static drawdown. So I have a fresh new plan called Diamond Hands. This one actually allows you to hold overnight and weekends. So this is unlike anything I've ever seen at any prop firm. The static drawdowns are kind of rare to see at prop firms, but there's a few that offer them. Then there's the traditional end of the day drawdown that you'll find at most prop firms. And then they have the one-step evaluations, which I think are also a really great way to earn funding at somewhat minimal risk with pretty high reward on them. So uh, they do have a see more details link here in order to see, what are the rules and regs in order to actually, pass one of these evaluations. But one thing I really love about Elite Trader Funding, aside from the wide variety of plans and the massive discounts, is they do allow you to choose the software that you trade with. Come over here to the home screen. You can see that they actually work with NinjaTrader, Tradeovate, TradingView, and anything in the Rhythmic network, which is awesome. I do like that they offer TradingView as well because it's just not a commonly offered thing. But most things are going to be NinjaTrader, which are, in my own personal opinion, is a very, very challenging software, at least for me. Some people love it, and for those that love it, by all means, do you. I understand it is an incredibly powerful software. That is very obvious to me as I was using it. But I don't need incredibly powerful. I need something different for my trades. I really don't need a ton of information. I really just need chart patterns and bulls, bears, price ladder, and TTM. Kind of basic stuff for me. I'm join the bid here. And I'm just looking for a little bounce. Something kind of small. But yeah, guys, go ahead and check them out. Check out Elite Trader Funding. Use the link in the description and the promo code JSBEST in order to grab that 65% off right now. Yeah, no worries, Sonny. Like, no rush on getting funding. Like, so you guys know, like, I've been trying to earn funding for a few months. It's not an easy thing, and I would say to you that if you are looking to earn funding, expect that there may be failures. Expect that it is a process, and that it may take you a couple of months to do it. If you guys do it in your first month, dude, kudos to you. Like you rock. Like, here's your fist bump. But like for me, it ended up taking a couple of months in order to get here, and I still haven't got it yet. I've gotten very close several times, and I keep getting closer each and every time. And I don't just mean closer in terms of the actual funding itself, but I also mean closer in terms, like, I've become a significantly better trader over the last 6 months than I have over the last 3 years. And that is very much in large part to this stream. And it's also in part to trying to earn funding, because that's taught me to cut losses differently and to just sort of think differently about the way that I trade. Trying to get in there at 36.75. Got the entry there at 36.75. I'm looking to get out of 37.25, which is the peak of this candle, and we're getting a pullback on that. I don't love that pullback. 18 seconds on this candle here. Yeah, I don't love that. I think I may need to cut this. Still holding because of that hammer candle that's kind of formed there. That doji on that upper area. Back at flat, I may actually drop this at 37. See if I can just get out with a single tick.
Order filled.
We got out with a single tick. I kind of feel like I guess I could have held it. Looks like it was a nice trade on there. Should have held through that pullback, but frankly, after this this wick here, I just felt a little uncomfortable in that trade. And so number one, I could have got a better entry. Number two, after that wick, I felt uncomfortable in this trade because of exactly what's happening now. I was worried that it was basically going to pull back kind of heavily off of here, and so I don't love that trade. Looks like it would have worked out at the original trade idea, but I kind of got scared out of the position based off of this down wick. Getting another push up, currently down $61 in the evaluation on the day. Pretty minimal. Like I said, I'm really just focused on keeping my losses small, keeping my wins. I'm just looking to build up a cushion. I don't mind going slow. Today's slow, so I'll just go slow with it. Not every day needs to be like this crazy rip. Like, that's marketing, guys. Like when you're like, I made $5,000 in 5 minutes. Like, it's possible, and I've personally had a $10,000 day in the sim before, live here on the stream, actually. But it's just a matter of like those days are less common than marketing would have you believe. So a lot of the times the days are a couple $100, maybe 1,000 or so, which is great money, by the way. But it is a slow process, and you have to go with the market, not against it. Some days are up, some days are down, and so it's just something to be aware of. I went long after that doji, and I don't think that I should have, because like usually a doji sort of at the top, my philosophy usually is that it's going to drop. If it's at the doji top, it's a drop. Usually, so that's kind of my idea with that. So this doesn't really fall in line with how I normally trade. We have a double doji here. Kind of weird. It's just kind of a testament to the lower volume and lower volatility on the day. It does kind of look like, if I was to pull this back, it looks like there's a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern forming. Kind of minimal there, but something. I'm going to cut this trade, take this loss. Yeah, I'm out. Loss, we're down at 450, so that was a loss of 150 on the day. We're pulling back to 41.35, which may act as support and then another bounce. But truthfully, what I'd actually like to see is just a crossover. Frankly, I would want a trend reversal, and the reason why I want a trend reversal is just so that this price can more or less consolidate along a moving average, consolidating around like a downward cross, and then like consolidating along the 50 EMA would be nice, or just sort of something where it would consolidate along a moving average, because it would help give us a little bit more determination of direction. So I think that would just make trading a little bit easier on the day. So I personally actually did this, and by the way, I was doing this when I started doing this stream. So when I started doing the stream in July of this year, I was cutting very quickly, like quicker than I could have and should have. So that was something I was doing kind of in the beginning, and I don't know. I think that just taking these last few months and trading and narrating my trades has been like really helpful. But trading on stream, as well as trading in the evaluation, it made me take it more seriously at like a different level. for me, I personally, and this is just for me and just about me, I personally got value by having the pressure and the risk of the evaluation. That monetary risk of failing and things like that kind of motivated me, and in my own personal opinion, made me a better trader, made me a more patient trader to take less trades and more profitable trades on a more consistent basis. Um, when I when I signed up for the evaluation, I personally did not look at I looked at it from the perspective. I was like, okay, I'm earning this much in the simulator every day. I'm gonna blast through this funding. It's gonna be easy. And when I went to go do it, it was significantly different. Just different enough to make it to where it required a lot of adaptation. And after attempting it for several times now, I realized that it's okay, I just need to respect the process and not be in such a rush to try and earn funding. Because really, that was honestly what was killing my account, was just being in a rush. And you guys saw in November, I was dollars away from earning funding, literal couple of bucks. Taking a short here, in the anticipation of 9 dropping below 12, movement down to the 35, which is down at what? Drop that down to 33.50. Let's see if it actually happens. Kind of has some support there. So, I mean, you guys saw in November, if you were here, that I was a few dollars away from earning funding, and I think in the 50K. I'm pretty sure it was in the 50K. And as a result, I was like, oh, I just need one little mini scalp. And I went to go take that little mini scalp near the highs, and it fell on me pretty heavily. And when it did, it was like, okay, well, now we just need a couple $100, right? Because we lost a couple $100 on the trade. And then I just ended up pushing myself way too hard, and I could have walked away right there and didn't. And it's because I was in that hurry to earn funding, and that's just not a place to be to actually make profit. And so that was really my problem. I'm gonna open up my door here in the office. The heater sometimes gets too real. It's like central heating, so I don't have choice on it that much. Sometimes the heat in this room just gets crazy. So we did get that trade. We're down 375 on the day. But I am looking for a potential of this crossover toward the downside. We do have TTM red, and I'd be looking for a move down to 33. I'm gonna go short here. It could just rip up on me right here, because this is also a area, a type of thing that can happen. If we get a red yellow move, then I'm probably gonna take that in the eval. It is just ripping up, this was a concern that I had, that it would do this. It came up, hit resistance there at that 36.5 or whatever that's hit here, and here. But it's looking more like it's gonna pop instead of drop. For the drop, I was looking for a drop down to the 35. I'm gonna cut this, and I'm gonna jump to the evaluation side, and I'm gonna go here. And I was going to take that, and it's just ripping without me. Looking to join the bid on 36.50. It's kind of moving without me. I'm gonna cut that. Look for another entry op. That was the op I was looking for. New high there, just ripped up 39.
Order
We're in the
filled.
bid at 38 and a quarter. I'm looking to get it at 39, which is the high. All right,
Order
we got
filled.
that trade. We're officially profitable, $4.20 on the day. So we're officially profitable, 420. We have a nice big rip here, making new highs on the day, and a fresh cyan with yellow. So that was a very big rip there, like a $6 rip off of 4,700 and 3,200 contracts. Actually, 2,100 and 4,700. So not a ton of volume to make that big push. When the movement is like this on the day, it doesn't take much. Getting pullback now. Our high of the day is now 39.50, 41.39.50 to be honest, or to be clear. Let's see. I'm just getting caught up on the comments. Yeah, Tiny, this right here, about taking like having, I know this is like 12 minutes ago that you made this comment, but this right here, like having those good days, like where you have like a lot of time, like for me, like I'll like have like several good days, and then I'll have like one or two bad days that just cancels out all the good. This is something I'm personally working on. To be completely clear, and in working on this, um, it is not necessarily an easy thing to do. It is by far more of an emotional thing, and a psychological thing. It's the ability to walk away from the poker table. It's the ability to to look at that thing that you might really want or be tempted by and say no. Um, I love old cars. Uh, there was a older car. I love older JDM cars, like to be specific, 80s and 90s rides. Love some of those cars. Some of my favorite rides that have ever existed. Some of the styling, the efficiency of them all. Like I had when I was a kid, I had an 86 Toyota Camry. It was my first car. And it got 42 miles to the gallon. Like, can you believe it? Like, it's just like unheard of to think about a 1986 vehicle getting 42 miles to the gallon, but it did. And I think that the part that was fascinating about it is that as time went on, gas mileage never got better. So I love the efficiency of it. But the point of that is that there was a vehicle just recently in my area that was incredibly inexpensive for what it was. And normally, I was seeing these vehicles selling for 10, 12, $13,000. I found it for like five. And I'm like, oh man, I could buy this. I should buy this because this is like a steal of a deal. And but the idea was that if I go and I spend that money, then have some sort of emergency or something like that, then what am I going to do? How is that going to help me, help my family, etc.? And so it was the ability to walk away from something that I was truly tempted by, and that's where we're at. That's what I personally think is one of the things that we have to be able to do as traders. It's not easy, and I'm not going to pretend like it is. Um, but that's why we're working on ourselves, our stoicism, our psychology, all those types of things. Um, Just seems to be all over the place. I never know when I should stop or scalp versus holding um, for a few for the day. It's just too hard to tell. Okay, so we're doing like a coaching session here. Um, so like as far as like when to scalp and whatnot, um, if I could, I'm not allowed. Like I don't want to give advice. Um, but if I can think about my own self, one of the things that was really helpful for me was to just focus on one thing and one thing only. And if I don't like let's just say that one thing happens to be scalping, and just to get really good at that one thing, um, which took months. Okay, it took months. For me, it was the TTM, and that took months for me to get good at. Uh, Not days, not weeks. It took months, and there were days that I would just watch the chart and take no trade for hours. And like I don't want to encourage that because the idea is to get on, do what you need to do, and then get off. But but also at the same time, like it just was uh for me, it was like that one thing that I could focus on to try to get better. Uh and for you that might be scalping. For me, like I've had to adapt to being scalping these last few weeks, just because I haven't been seeing momentum moves that are very obvious and clear the last few, probably since November. And so the last like 2-3 months, it's been very much focused on taking scalps, and so it's not about me knowing when to scalp or when to take momentum because I this is a momentum trade right here, but it was just more about like I just need to focus on one thing, and that's really what where I personally would probably consider putting my focus is just focus on one thing, one strategy, master that, do it until you don't have to think about it anymore, and it's a lot less like let me go short here. So I don't know. I'm definitely not like the world's best trader or anything like that. I'm not gonna pretend to be. Obviously you see I'm red today, but it's just something like the whole concept of us getting better as traders and with the whole optimistic futures thing is that we're a community of traders that are here to help each other grow. And given all that, I will probably stop talking about all this stuff. I totally understand, Tiny. But you'll get there. Stay optimistic. Hope and faith are really, really certain things, like really important. Yeah, the Tercels are also really good. Like Tercels have their own little culture behind them. Same with like the Paseos, the Toyota Paseos. I'm trying to like keep up with everything. Read all the comments. So this right here, the incessant need to be right, um, etc. That is something that I personally have dealt with, and I think that most people do. Um, like I'm sure a lot of people have heard that saying, like, you can either be right or be married. And trading kind of feels that way a lot of the time. You can either be right or you can be profitable. But it's just, to me, like, I guess, like, it's ego. Like, when I look at it myself and I'm like, why do I need to be right? Like, a lot of times it's ego. Even if I feel like I'm right, and then something else is saying that I'm wrong, like, sometimes I ask myself, like, how am I being egotistical in this moment? How's my ego leading? And I think sometimes you need your ego. Sometimes it has a lot of value, but other times your ego gets you in trouble. And it feels like more often than not it gets you in pretty deep trouble. So that's something I just personally consider. How can we eliminate ego? There is a book called Ego is the Enemy. And I don't fully agree with that messaging, but it is a concept to consider when it comes to dealing with our emotions, when it comes to dealing with our sort of brains that are just like, I need to be right all the time. It's a, I don't know, it's a pretty good book. I haven't read it in years. I would have to go back and refresh myself on it, but I'm trying to get long here at 35. I'm looking for a bounce off this EMA 35, but it just is not filling me. Okay, it filled me there at 35 on this pullback. I was about to cut it because I wasn't even sure. I was like, man, this just doesn't feel like it's moving or gonna fill. This honestly seems like it's gonna be more of the pullback and the trend reversal as we approach 830. So I may cut this, but usually we get bounces here at the EMA 35. We got that one bounce and it rejected below the 9 there, down to the 35. So we might get one more bounce. If this bounce turns into a red yellow, then I'll probably take that trade in the eval side. It's coming up and hitting my sell order, but not filling. I'm gonna just drop it down the tick just to try to get out with some profit, but it's just like, it's not filling. Even though it tapped my sell order like 3 times, it never filled. Which can happen. You know, it's... Right. Alright, there we go. Made 75 on that one. Down 225 on the day. In the sim, dipping below the 35. This is kind of a crucial spot, because if we dip below the 35, then we have movement down to the 50 here at 33. If we don't, then we could just bounce off this 35 and get another rip up. And so it's kind of a crucial zone with a lot of uncertainty here. Pulling back to the 3-minute chart, because I want to take a look and see how this is progressing. You can see it's actually cooling off in the TTM, even with these spikes here and new highs. It was actually cooling off the whole time. Our last 3 is at 5.7 to 4.86 to, on the current one, 4.2. And we do have a potential trend reversal inbound in the next like half hour on the 3-minute chart, with this 26 approaching this 12 here. I'm going to take a look at the 5-minute chart and see what we've got going on the longer time frame. We have a 5-minute flag here, as you can see. And as far as the cooldown goes, we went from 4.6 to 3.6 to 2.6 on the current. So dropping in about 1 point per 5-minute candle, with a new 5-minute candle up in about 45 seconds. And I think that one may help determine whether or not this breakout is going to happen. So let's wait here for 8:30 on the clock. Bring in a resistance and support line here. Support being there at like 34.5. Resistance being at 37.5. It's looking more like a pop. There's a red to yellow beginning to happen. Put this at like 5 ticks. And I'm going to join the bid for a potential of that crazy momentum swing that we've been getting. I'm going to jump over here to the evaluation side where we did get a red candle for a brief moment. And now we're getting yellow candle for a brief moment on the TTM. Now we're getting a red. 9 is below the 12, so I can't actually take this trade in the evaluation. Not until this 9 gets above the 12 or we get closer to that crossover. I'm tempted to join the bid. We did that a very nice, very smooth bounce off the 35 there, the EMA 35. Joining the bid here.
Order filled.
In at 36.75, looking for an exit at 37.50, which is right where this resistance line is. I want to see buyers step in here. I think could have got a slightly better entry. Doji on that one. Ooh, I don't like that. Probably gonna cut this. Yes, I do. We ended with that doji on the top, which was the candle that we ended up filling on. You gotta cut that.
Order filled.
Pretty big loss on that. That brought me from being profitable in the day to being red on the day, and also here as well. So we did reject that that crossover as well as that red to yellow. That's too bad, especially because we worked pretty hard to get back into profit on the day. Got it back into profit by a couple of bucks just to have this fall back down. I was worried about that here at the EMA 35, but it just didn't do it at the type of strength that I was expecting. So we are getting that fall over potential and that trend reversal. This may find some support at like 41.30 or something like that. And maybe off the 50. Why are you sorry? It's all good. Losses are part of the game. Take it in stride. .8 to 2.2 on the TTM on the red side. I wonder if we're going to fill up to about 33 and then a rejection off of that. I'm going to try to go short off 33. Movement of like a half a point. Cut that and then short off 32. All right, we're in short off 32.25. We're gonna get out 31.75. Still hasn't filled even though it's tapped the order several times. Move past the order. 2.3 to 2.6 on the TTM on the 1 minute chart. I want to take a look at that 5 minute chart. Let's see, so we went from 12.8 10.9 to 10.9 right now, pulling back to 31.75. Like I said, I may look for support off of 30 and some bounces there. I want the 3-minute chart. Three-minute going from 12.89 to 11.0 to 9.5 on the TTM3. And switching back to the 1-minute chart. Whoops. This kind of looks like that head and shoulders pattern that we talked about a half hour ago. So yeah, I'm gonna just get zoomed in on this section here. We've got 9 is below the 12. We had a doji down here at the bottom. 2.3 to 2.5 to 2.6 to 2.7 on the 1-minute TTM. I'm gonna look for another red to yellow opportunity for a long, but if not that, I could see going short off of like 33 again. Tiny, I want you to think about this. Like, I actually think there would be a lot of value in you taking these transcripts from what you've written here today. How are you identifying yourself? Remember that identities are not found, they are created. Now, in this statement here, I see that you say that you're sorry for the loss, but you're also saying that you're learning how to do that better. But then you identify yourself by saying, "But again, I'm a slow learner." That is an identifying statement that identifies you as a person, and that creates that identity in your own mind and your own ego and your own your own being, your own energy in and of itself, and defines yourself as becoming and being a slow learner. These types of statements are defining statements that help create our identity. Remember, an identity is not found, it is created. And we are the ones who have the ability to create that identity. Words are powerful, and it's one of the reasons why spelling is called spelling, because words are like spells. And as we speak, we're casting spells. At least that's my own belief, my own philosophy. I have found in the 20 plus years that I was in sales that altering the position of the word the could mean the difference between gaining a sale that somebody was very happy about, as well as losing that sale. And it made a really big difference in my life, understanding that words are power. And so that's something that I may recommend if you're looking to move past that blockage, that you may that that me personally reading through your text, that I can see being manifest through your texting, like through what you're writing here. And I could be wrong, and I could be being overly assumptive and overstepping my boundaries. And if that's okay, you can tell me to just, F off or whatever. But it is something that I personally have just identified by reading these messages. In what ways are we creating identifying statements about ourselves that actually limit our infinite potential? So something to consider. Um, This right here is also in every human thing. So this is not a you thing. This is a human thing. Every like this has been your life, but it's also the life of all people, including all experts. If you've got a dude up at the top, or anybody, it doesn't have to be a dude. But if you got somebody up at the top of something, and they're the expert of the expert of the expert of the expert, sir, in their field, they could still be wrong. Even if they think that they have it right, even if everything that they know, all their experience says that they have it right, they could still be wrong. In fact, I think one of the most dangerous things is when somebody is so sure of themselves that they are right, because a lot of the time that ego leads to that arrogance, and that arrogance leads to that downfall. It's not necessarily pride as much as it's arrogance. And so that's kind of my own take and my own perspective. I've throughout my life I've watched world leaders act that way, where their arrogance has costed them sometimes their life. It has costed them their country, it's costing them their state, their families, etc. And that's something that, to me, like, I'm like, okay, well, and I've personally been guilty of it. Like, I will never try and act like I'm not. I've personally been guilty of my own arrogance and my own ego getting in the way of 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 progress, really. We're getting that bounce that I was mentioning off of 30 area, getting a pullback down to like 34 and a half. This looks really nice and strong. I'm enjoying the bid here. See if it enters me. There's like very little movement. Jumping to the evaluation side, and I'm gonna look for an entry off of 34.75. Where's this at? 34. I'm gonna actually cut that, and I'm gonna try to get in at 34.50.
Order rejected.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to join the bid there.
Order filled.
Entered at 34.50. I'm gonna try to get out at 35 and a quarter. This has a you can see that resistance right there at 35 and a quarter, which is my exit point. Looking for it to rip through it to 36.50 is the intended exit, like the intended area that I want it to rip up to, or at least like 36. Currently flat on this trade at the moment. We did get that red to yellow move that I was looking for. 9 is attempting to approach above the 12.
Order filled.
All right, so we did get that trade. That was a pretty good trade. That was 3 ticks back. Here's this big rip here. I definitely could have gone for like 6 ticks or something like that, or even more. Wow. Okay. Chill there. That was such a textbook momentum move that I absolutely should have identified as a momentum and not a scalp. But I think I'm being overly cautious. We're coming up and we're testing the highs now. I absolutely should have identified that as a momentum trade. That is on me. I took that as a scalp. I feel a little like FOMO. We're hitting 40 now. Big rips in the market. Excuse me. Up here at 40 and a quarter. Like, I'm tempted to take a short off that, but like, because of the volatility and the fresh, very strong rip, I don't want to take a short off that. But this was 9,000 contracts. So somebody was accumulating positions throughout this last half hour, and throughout that accumulation decided to cover their shorts or whatever it was, in order to get that big, massive push up there. Down 225 on the day in the sim, and down 164.12 in the evaluation. I absolutely should have taken a much more aggressive trade here, and I felt it too, but I just didn't do it. And that's on, being overly cautious on trading. It happens to me. Just catching up on the comments. Yeah, see, like this right here, like again, you're reinforcing your statement of being a slow learner. So not only number one, did you define yourself and made that an identifying statement of who you are, not what you are, but who you are. Now, as I challenged it, now you reiterated it. Like you're like, yeah, I've tried, but and so this goes to say, okay, yes, I'm gonna dig in and say that this is who I am. This is who I am. It's who I am. And it's gonna like push that thought process deeper and deeper into your subconscious so that like you can say that this is who you are. You can say that that's not who you are. Personally, I don't think brains are like that. I, coming from a brain injury, coming from being completely blind, completely unable to speak, um, I just don't think brains are that way. Uh, Brains are as malleable as you want them to be, or as rigid as you make them to be. But at the end of the day, it really just comes down to how open we are. That's it. The times I have learned the fastest in my life is the time where I was just like, just teach me. I'm done. Like I know nothing. I know nothing. And just allowed myself to take whatever beating was necessary, uh, to grind if necessary on the learning process, or to just completely just like act what many would call to be incredibly lazy um in my learning process and still gain from it because of that. Because I took the time to just like let it just permeate. And so it just really is trying to go long there.
Order filled.
I might be taking a little too risky of a trade. Sorry, I'm focused. I mean, to start conversations, just to end them. You probably should have gone short of this. I'm out.
Order filled.
Could just pop back up. Down 248.28 on the day. This is probably what my risk level is. And so if our next trade doesn't go in our direction, I'll have to stop on the evaluation. ES up 0.2% on the day. But those are just some of the thoughts that I have when it comes to that. I spent a lot of my life being coaches for people, helping people build their own, often six-figure businesses from nothing. And the main ingredient was not that they didn't know what to do. It wasn't their skill. 99% of the time, let's say 97%, was their ego. It was them telling themselves a story as to who they are and what they can or can't be. And that was almost invariably the reason why they weren't succeeding. I once mentored a dude who was trying for 37 years. Okay, that's like my age. Like for 37 years, he was trying to make it as an entrepreneur. And there was like one thing that he would not do. And he had done so many other elements of his business. But when it came to emailing his audience, and he had an audience of like 10,000 people, he just he wouldn't do it. And I was like, "Did you email your audience today?" And he'd be like, "No, like I need to, I'm working on like some other stuff and in my business, and I need to like make sure this thing." I'm like, "Dude, I'm like, you can't expect people to be able to know whether or not they could even work with you unless you're communicating with them." And we went around this. Bear in mind, this dude tried for 37 years and spent nearly $1 million, close to $1 million, in order to attempt to become an entrepreneur and have it be able to pay his bills. So I worked with him for 8 months. It took 8 months to get him to change one habit in his business. But it was that 8 months of constantly speaking to this dude about altering the way that he was acting. He was so finding reasons and excuses as to why he couldn't, like, "Oh, I'm not good at writing." Like that was his main objection. "I'm not good at writing." I'm like, "You don't need to be good at writing. You just need to write like normal. Like just speak like how you do." Nothing could get this guy to email his audience, to email his list. And for months and months and months, like 4 months, it basically would come down to that. But the conversation went through all of these different things, like of how he was raised. Like he was told he was a slow learner. He was told, like, no joke, exact same thing. He was told he was a slow learner. How he was raised. He didn't get good grades in school. All these different things that like made him believe that he was unable to write an email to his audience. And that was enough to keep him from gaining any sort of success in his business for 37 years. So for 4 months, we did this dance of, okay, that's great, but, like, how are you holding yourself back? And for 4 months, we did this dance. By the 4th month, he started sending out a couple of emails, and his people responded to him. They replied. They were like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for emailing me. I've been so curious about da da da." And then he would answer the questions, and then he started getting sales. And by 6 months in, so 2 months after he started emailing, dude was making $10,000 a month. So it took him 2 months to make 10 grand a month, whereas for 37 years he was losing money. And all of it came down to this idea that he just wasn't wasn't good at writing, wasn't great at communicating. Going long right here. Looking for a bounce off the EMA 35. Entered at 37.75. I'm looking to get a 38.50 after this pullback here off these highs. And so the moral of the story, and what I personally gained out of it from watching him and being a part of that process and part of his journey, was that a lot of what was holding him back had everything to do with how he was raised and the story that he was told when he was a child, not the identity that he created for himself, but the identity that others thrusted upon him. And it was just really fascinating to watch that, like, here was this guy who was in his 60s, who had been trying since his 20s to get a level of success that he was after. And all of it came down to that story that he was telling himself, that he was just not good at writing, or just wasn't good at what he was doing, or a great communicator. And he was like, I want to build the business in other ways. And ultimately it just came down to, like, you know what, like, you can't build a business without sales. It just doesn't work. This thing is literally like stopping right before our sell order. I'm just putting it at 38. One second left in this candle. I'm out.
Order
Probably
filled.
done on the evaluation for the day. We're down 457, and we don't have a lot of room left in the eval. So if I do take another trade, it's got to be a banger. It's got to be a guaranteed trade. And so in regards to that, I'll probably be done for the day on the evaluation. However, I will be looking at some of the market drop, the news market drop tomorrow for some potential momentum trades on there as well. And this, and I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up with the comments because I know I've been like also talking about this. But you try to convince yourself to learn quick, but that really didn't work. And the reason is because you tried to convince yourself. Um, there's an old saying in sales that like if you have to convince, you're not actually selling anybody anything. You're setting everybody up for a lose-lose situation. So it's just something to consider. If anybody is ever trying to convince you of anything, walk away. That's how I personally view sales. I don't try to convince people of anything at all, ever. I don't want to convince you to join Elite Trader Funding. I don't want to convince you to get funding. I don't want to convince you to become a trader at all in any capacity, because convincing is a almost guaranteed way to really just sort of end relationships. It really is. I can't convince myself of anything, just so you know. Like to me, like truth is truth. Uh Trading really is the best way to get to know thyself for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um and the same with entrepreneurship. Like it's like it by far like what is therapy, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like what is like for some people that probably does work, but for me, like I don't think I would have the trust to talk to a therapist. Like if you're like, "Oh, I'm having awful thoughts," then like all of a sudden you end up in grip and sock land. Like no one wants that. Like so I don't think that I could ever trust a therapist or any of those type of people because for all I know, like I'm gonna say something that they're gonna look at some sort of thing and be like, "Oh, you belong in in an asylum for 10 days or something, or however long we determine." I'm not trying to like give my life to that. And so yeah, I definitely think that anything that forges you in fire is the best therapy. And trading forges you in the fire of trading. Entrepreneurship like forges you in the fire of that. You're often forced to build your parachute on the way down, as we often would say. Um, we're getting a bounce off the 50 EMA, which is right where I cut, by the way. Um, what a kind of frustrating day for me in the evaluation, especially because I did, work my way into getting green on the day, but we have another red here on the TTM, and I'm tempted to keep going long because it just seems like that's the play. But at the same time, like, we are getting these kind of like multi-pronged pullbacks. It's the waveforms of the day, and I'm just not riding the waves well today. We do have kind of another setup showing up here. There it is. Under the bid.
Order filled.
in 38.75. I honestly should have taken that setup when I set it. Exit at 39.50 is the intended exit. And we're down way too much on the day.
Order
Oh my
filled.
gosh, dude. I had to cut that. I'm done in the eval. I'm closing it down. There we go. Eval's closed. So, gonna jump to the sim and stay in here for the rest of the day. I should have just held that. But it's like these pullbacks, man, like they scare me out of my positions a lot. You know? Like, as long as we're being honest and doing this sort of like coaching type session, talking about our emotions, our therapy and all that. You know, I mean, these big pullbacks and whatnot, these scare me out of my position. And I'm like, oh, I'm down $200. I got to cut that because I'm trying to protect my account. And I'm doing the thing where I'm like having risk management, but also at the same time, it's like, you know, I'm killing my account in the process. And so it's a frustrating game. I mean, that's the reality of it. Long at 38.25. I do think that this is going to pop. I think it's going to pop up to 40. I'm going to put my exit there at 40. I think that we'll get a red to yellow here shortly from 0.9 to 1.3 on the TTM red. We're hitting resistance there at 39.25. So 9 did just cross over above the 12. And we are in bullish form on the 1226 here as well. TTM moving from 0.9 to 1.2. 0.5 to 0.9 to 1.1. 1.2-ish. We came up and we are one tick below 40. I'm going to try and take that profit there at 39.75. I'm actually just cut. So we did make most of our money back on the day. We're still red, but I think that we're doing okay. I'm looking for a pullback now to, I think, an entry off of here in the bid. Okay. Now I'm gonna put this up to 42 for anticipation of this red to yellow move here on the TTM, and another test of the highs. The highs up there at 43.75. It could just being overly aggressive. Being. I don't know why that was hard for me to say. Resistance at 40. 1.17 to 1.0 on the TTM. Volume is low. Volume's very low. And this may end up getting cut because of the low volume. I just, like, if you notice, like, we've been getting these like almost nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden there's 9,000 contracts traded. And that's kind of like how the day's been going, where there's basically nothing going on, and then all of a sudden somebody puts in like a crazy order that makes it just rip and go insane, and then it pulls back off that rip, and that's basically how it's been running all day. 9 is above the 12. The 1226 are touching each other. We got 1.2, 1.2 on the TTM. On the red side, getting a yellow one now. They still haven't reduced this order yet. 1.2 to 1.1. It's got to break through 40. And if it doesn't break through 40 in the next like few seconds, really just on this candle, then they got to cut it. We're currently at flat. Eight seconds left in this candle, and it is pulling back. So unless we get a big surge of volume here, another yellow one. 1.2 to 1.3 to 1.0. The breakthrough 40 is the line in the sand. It's got to break through that 40. I kind of wondering if we're going to get one of those candles that gets like 10,000 contracts traded all at once, because it's happened like 3 times. And when it does, it rips up like multiple dollars. .3 to 0.9 on the TTM. So a little bit of momentum on low volume, which is really important to note. So we're getting about 1,100 to 1,500 contracts a minute. Last one was 2,300. 1.0 to 0.6 on the TTM. Tap 40. Kind of rejected it a little bit. 1.0 to 0.5 on the TTM. We're at 40 now. 9 is still above the 12. 12 is below 26. And so that doesn't look necessarily great. We do have this double top here on 40 off this wick and this one. Our current one. We're at 907. New candle in a moment. 1,300 to 1,500 on volume. Ended that candle at 1625 in volume. Pushing up to 41 now. This was the trade I was looking for in the evaluation off this doji. Or off of this one here, this hammer. Pulling up to 41. I'm going to cut this here just because of the down wick. Made 300 on that. We are finally profitable again in the sim side. Took way too many trades to get here. It definitely took a long time in order to really find the wave pattern of the day. But I think we kind of got it. Just trying to catch up on some of the comments. And just so you know, Tiny, this is everybody, especially the older we get. It just takes more time, and just it's an openness thing is honestly like what a lot of it is. But I'm trying to get through all of this this tech stuff here and see if I can figure out where we're at in this conversation. Okay, Cryptosaurus. I found more coffee. Feast or famine orders. Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good way of putting it. It is kind of feast or famine orders today. Um, so we ended up pulling up to. Looks like my trade possibly would have worked out at 42. Might not have filled though. 42 was my original intended exit. I think I got out of 41 something. We're pulling back to 40.75, and we've got 0.3 to 0.8 to 1.3 on the TTM. Moving about half a point. It's about as slow as I expected it to be today, based off the no market news. We are just kind of ripping up since the open. Um, and at the open, we were there around 4,100, and we're up at about 4,140 on the day. Um, the While we're really like at the 4,140 or whatever, like that's pretty much what we're up on the day on the symbol itself. So we basically opened at 4,100. Got a flag here. Looks like we're gonna attempt for another high. The high up there being like around 44. And this could be in anticipation of tomorrow's news. Let's take a look at the NQ and just see what the movement's kind of bland on the NQ. Wow, this has like really old drawings on here. That's gone. I know we don't normally trade the NQ, but I just wanted to see what it's looking like, and the chart pattern is almost identical right now on the NQ. Just for fun, I'm gonna take a move here. There you go. Quick 25 bucks on the NQ. Just for fun. It was like one contract at 5 ticks. NQ kind of bounces around a little more, I've noticed. It didn't fill my order. Yeah, we'll just flatten that. You ever gonna fill my order, dude? Wow. That's like a TOS lag issue because they ran through my order like 6 times and it still won't let me out. Let me out, dude. Okay. It did let us out, made us $100, but yeah, I mean, wow, what was that about? Anyway, that was just for fun. Trade the NQ. Made $145 real fast with that though. It's got some reasonable momentum though on the day. Like some decent movement. What's the volume like here? Volume's pretty small, but it doesn't take a lot of volume in order to move the NQ around. We haven't traded this in a very long time, but it kind of is like, I don't know, when things aren't moving around that much. I mainly just trade the ES. Up 225 on the NQ. Maybe I should have been trading this today. Oh no, I'm not even seeing my screen. Here it is. Up 225 in the NQ. Sorry you guys missed those trades. Try to join the bid there. It's kind of hard to get fills. Nice rip up here. I wonder if the ES is also ripping. Yeah, ES up there at 42. They look like identical in the chart patterns. Kind of funny. Anyway, kind of a hard day in the evaluations today. Pretty disappointed with the results. Ran through the majority of my risk on the brand new evaluation for the day. So not happy about that. Um, I haven't failed it yet, but I have a lot of effort now in order to work my way back into profit. We were in profit for a brief moment on the day, and it was $4.20. Pretty minimal in terms of profit, but it was very difficult for me to find the movement of the day. And so I don't know. It's kind of a challenging trade day in the evaluation for me. NQ making new highs. It's been so long since I've traded the NQ, and I'm just like, I don't know if I could trade this thing, you know. But sometimes it's just kind of nice to switch it up. Okay. Somehow I'm in a trade. Even though I had canceled a long time ago and it disappeared from the charts. I don't even have a sell order. Wow. Well, there's a seller waiting there. Made $10 on that. Yeah. Alrighty. So I am green in the sim account on both the NQ at 235 and the ES at 262.50. Normally, I pretty much only trade the ES, but just traded the NQ for fun today. And the NQ's got a little bit easier movement today, honestly, for me. ES kind of pulling back to about 42s, but this is its own sort of resistance point. Tried to go long off 42 for an exit of 42.50, and just didn't fill me. Kind of been the story of the day. Just having a hard time getting fills and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, glad that we did green in the sim. Would be a lot better if we could do green in the evaluation. But sometimes it just takes a while to get the movement right. And today, it took a good hour and a half to get the movement right. And we're ending green, kind of small though, but green is green. So, ah, having said all that, I think I'm probably going to go ahead and shut down for the day. Um, you know, slight green in the sim, very red in the evaluation, um, which is kind of frustrating because it's the very first day of the 100K for today. But I will say this, guys. If you would like to take an opportunity to earn funding in the futures market, Elite Trader Funding is currently offering a 65% off. There it is, 65% off BOGO sale. It's their anniversary celebration for their very first year. You can use the link in the description and the promo code JSBEST in order to take advantage of this BOGO sale that they have 65% off. The way the BOGO works is that if you go over here to the evaluations and you select any of the evaluations that you see here, with the exception of the fast tracks, but like it does include the one steps, it includes the end of the day drawdowns, it includes the static drawdown evaluations, and the new diamond hands evaluations. You can actually take any of these ones that you see here: 25K, 50K, 75K. Me personally, I'm working on the 50K and the 100K static. And you can take the amount and multiply it by 0.35, and you can see that this goes down to $57.75, saving over $100 to pick up a 50K evaluation. That locks in that price for life on that particular eval. And if you want, you can actually take advantage of 2 evaluations for the price of 1 for the first month. The first month would be $57.75. You get your second evaluation for free for your first month. Then after that, it goes to 65% off also for life for that second evaluation for the time that you have that evaluation. So you either cancel or pass. And then when you pass, then it just goes to a standard paid funding account, which is $80 a month. And you can click see more details here if you want to understand really in depth how each evaluation works. Every evaluation has a see more details link next to it. I would highly recommend that you click that link so that you can understand fully all the rules, regulations, and risks in order to actually pass any of these evaluations. My own personal opinion, getting funded through an evaluation is by far the least risk that one could put out there in order to actually trade in the futures market. Having said that, if I take a look at this 100K static evaluation here, which allows me 2 contracts of the mini, and this is the one that you saw me trading today. This one is $47.25, would be locked in for life right now. And that would allow me the ability to trade 2 contracts of the mini, or 20 micros, with a profit target of $2,000 and a drawdown of $625. So I'm getting access to, in my opinion, $625 account for $47.25. That in and of itself is a ridiculously good deal, because if I do 625 divided by 47.25, that means it would take me 13 months just to hit $625 in total expense. So the way I see it is I'm getting access to 100K in equity and a $625 drawdown for $47. It's like the deal of a lifetime, in my own personal opinion. And you can pick up 2 of them on the BOGO that they have right now. Just use the link in the description and the promo code JSBEST, that's JSBEST, in order to access that. Guys, when I look at trading the evaluations, personally, I'm looking at it for the long haul. I'm looking at it to say to myself, I may not get funded my first month, might not be my second month. I'm going to look at this as something that I'm going to do month over month until I actually earn that funding. And I'm only going to take an evaluation when I have a pretty solid strategy that I want to work off of. whether that strategy is scalping or momentum trading or what have you. Just make sure that you understand your strategy and that you found a strategy that you like that works for you. Some people like to use the RSI, some people like to use the MACD. I like to use the TTM squeeze and the bulls bears. Me personally, this is how I like to trade. But whatever your trade style is, uh, make sure that you understand it fully and completely so that when you actually go to earn your funding, you know what you're doing and you've got a pretty solid understanding of what you're doing. Um, but yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down here. Please like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications so that you can know when we go live. Uh, so you guys know we go live every Monday through Friday at 7:30 Pacific time. That's 10:30 market time. And we're here, rain or shine, whether the market is tanking or ripping. We're here and we're trading either way, whether it's going down or up. Tomorrow, Jerome Powell has a speech going on at 9:40 Pacific, 12:40 market time. And so we could see some crazy volume and excuse me, some crazy volatility in the market tomorrow. Um, so look for it then. Right now, I'm going to jump into our Discord community, which you guys are welcome to join. There's also a link in that description as well to hook you up with our Discord community. Our community is focused on optimistic futures is the name of the community. But we're also focusing on helping people gain understanding of themselves, help them create their own identity as a trader or any other type of thing that they're looking to do, whether that's entrepreneurship or any of that type of stuff. But that is what I am trying to help people figure out, is are you an entrepreneur? If you are, how can we help? Are you a trader? If you are, how can we help? It's all just about service and how can we help? So join up in that Discord community, joelstraight.com/Discord. There's also a link in the description, and I would love to see you guys there. For now, thank you everybody who showed up. Thank you to our new subscribers, all 313 new, that we've been able to have join us in this amazing journey. And thank you for everybody who is joining in the stream right now. We're getting a massive influx of viewers at this particular point in time. Thank you guys for being here. But we are actually about to shut it down. Much love and appreciation. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 7:30 Pacific. That is 10:30 Eastern time. We'll see you then. Thank you guys so much. Much love and appreciation. Peace.